Hello, ice cream enthusiasts, and welcome to Scooped, the ice cream review podcast where we try all the cone creations, signature slushes, and frozen foods on the East Coast to give you the ultimate scoop. My name is Holly Hagman, and with me is my co-host, husband, and ice cream connoisseur, Paul Percibali. Paul, do you scream for ice cream?
I do indeed, wife.
I knew it. I knew I heard some yelling in the distance. So, we, like most humans on the planet, really enjoy ice cream. And, it's been a staple, I think, in our marriage thus far. What would you say?
I would definitely say we have it at least once or twice a week.
Yeah, it's definitely...
Even with my particular hang-ups about dairy and humans should or should not be consuming it in the first place.
It's true. Your lactose intolerance is going to probably come up a few times throughout this.
Not even that. It's just that humans aren't supposed to be consuming the milk of animals other than other humans. But once you're past a certain age, you're not supposed to be even doing that.
Yes, but that's a different podcast. Anyway, this is going to be about ice cream. So a little bit about us before we get into that. We've been married for almost 2 years. Our anniversary is coming up soon, but we've been together for 8. Can you believe that? That's so scary.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Ouch. Oh, brutal. But we have a tradition of having ice cream at least once a week. Usually it's Friday is our ice cream day. We try to go to different ice cream shops in our town and neighboring towns, and it just kind of turned into us talking about making a list of what ice cream shops are the best around, and that evolved into this podcast, what you're hearing right now. And
we also have multiple tier lists about other things, including pizzas and bread.
Yes, this is, if the ice cream podcast goes sideways, tune in to our future podcasts where we review other carbohydrates. But for our inaugural episode of this podcast, we are reviewing an ice cream shop that's really close to our hearts for reasons that we will discuss momentarily. But we are going with Carvel ice cream for our very first review. So, Paul, would you like to tell us a little background about Carvel?
Yes, Carvel, the most generic of ice creams. And were you able to find out if Carvel is like the most commonly found brand in the United States? Because I feel like it's got to.
I feel like Dairy Queen is real popular in the South, though.
Okay.
So I don't know. But we have information on how many Carvel franchises exist in the United States and Puerto Rico coming up soon.
All right. So here's the scoop.
Yes,
on Carvel.
The scoop.
According to the Carvel website, it all started during Memorial Day weekend in 1934, when Tom Carvel's ice cream truck got a flat tire. He pulled over and began selling the slightly melted ice cream. Much to his surprise, people preferred it softer, and the rest, as they say, is history. Today, our delicious treats and classic ice cream cakes are a staple at birthdays, holiday parties, and other occasions worth celebrating.
I don't know about you, but Carvel ice cream cake is definitely... Well, it's a bigger staple, I think, in your family than mine.
No, I would say because your family seems to have something against ice cream cake, and mine is addicted to it.
My mom was always the person who, baked your cake that, if you picked a cake for your birthday, she would make it for you. But at your house, it's always ice cream cake, which I'm not complaining. Love me some ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake's pretty great.
It's the best.
Yes.
But anyway, that's some interesting stuff. So basically, from my understanding of the story, is he accidentally invented the soft serve ice cream?
That seems to be the case, and God bless him for it.
Literally, thank God for that flat tire.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely making the best out of a sticky situation.
Also, I loved your menacing way of saying the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you... As if it was going to be a
because I've been working on my audiobook so often these days that my predilection towards enunciating things with a little bit more dramatic flair has been kind of increasing as a result.
That's a good point. Selfless plug, do you want to talk about your audiobook a little bit? while we're here, or are we going to do that at a later episode where we're not going to put in ads for our other projects?
Talk about it later.
Okay. So, anyway, over the course of time, we have this ice cream truck flat tire incident in 1934, right? And then by 1936, the Carvel Corporation is officially formed, and they put a patent on their signature ice cream. So soft serve is officially, invented, I suppose, in 1936. Or patented. I'm imagining someone somewhere probably
Must have had good lawyers.
Made it before, but they have the patent. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you a note from the future. So, upon further research about the invention of ice cream, it is in fact true that someone somewhere invented ice cream or something similar to it before our friend Tom Carvel had his flat tire and soft serve was ultimately patented. The first recorded example of an iced milk dessert, those are the exact words, iced milk dessert, came from the Chinese Tang Dynasty in the year range 618 to 907. So many, many, many moons ago. And this particular dessert was closer to a frozen yogurt scenario because they used fermented horse milk to create this delicacy.
They must have had good lawyers to get it pushed through in just 2 years.
That's
it
true.
takes longer these days, is what I'm getting at.
They had less probably to do in 1936 and
It's
1934.
true. And also, the company was around for 5 years, which means they were accumulating a good amount of wealth, which means that they could probably, pay a good lawyer to, get that pushed through so no one else would go and patent it. And plus, if they were the ones to come up with it in the first place, they would have enough time before everyone else caught on. They'd be ahead of the curve, is what I'm saying.
That makes sense to me. So, after a certain number of years, Carvel, trademark, is the first to officially franchise a retail ice cream shop in the United States. So, when you think of, chain ice cream stores, they're the first in America.
Yeah, then it definitely would make sense to me if it was the most popular brand in the United States.
True.
Definitely something we need to look up later.
They've definitely been around the longest, so.
Yeah, so unless someone just came up with a better idea after it was already established and somehow they pulled ahead of them, then I'm going to assume that Carvel's probably the most popular ice cream franchise in the United States.
Probably. And there's a lot of them. You want to tell us about the locations?
All right, so let's see. The first one began in Hartsdale, New York. And since then, there are 341 locations across 18 states and Puerto Rico. There's 198 only. There's 198 in New York and 48 in New Jersey.
So we got lucky. We're in really good proximity to the ice cream. We never said where we're from. By the way, we're from New Jersey, in case anyone's wondering. That's where we're based.
They're going to figure that out eventually when all the ice cream places we're talking about are all
in New Jersey?
In New Jersey, Connecticut, or
New York.
New York, yeah.
True.
Although we mostly have we have some exposure to more exposure actually to Connecticut than we do in terms of New York ice cream places.
That's true.
Just because we go there all the time.
Yes, we've been there. We've been there quite a few times, and we will talk about our Connecticut travels in future episodes. So if you're based in Connecticut or interested in hearing about it, please continue to tune in.
It's definitely worth it. Connecticut has some really good ice cream.
Oh, it's so good. The ice cream up there is top-notch. But anyway, so that's an alarming number of ice cream shops in New York just from Carvel.
Mm-hmm.
I know New York is densely populated, but 198 out of 341?
That takes up about 250 right there, which means that it's unaccounted for about 150 more in other parts of the United States.
That's
so I don't know how widely they're spread out. That would be something that we'd actually have to look to. Like, maybe if there's like 2 or 3 per state, or maybe they're just like clustered around the eastern United States section.
I looked this up when I was doing the research, and I remember seeing that there's like a weird spread. Like, so here we go.
Here it is, yeah.
So we've got 199 in New York. They must have opened a new one since I did the research.
Okay.
Because literally, it's a different number.
That number is annoying me, though. Why not just make it 200? Just
round
up. Round up!
Well, they got to open another one, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 199 in New York. We've got 48 in New Jersey. Then, continuing on our East Coast thing, we've got Connecticut with 21. Florida, surprisingly, with 30, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just random. 1 in California, 1 in Nevada, 1 in Kentucky, 1 in Ohio, 2 in Texas, Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and for some reason, 9 in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so they are spread out fairly evenly over the United States.
Mm-hmm. Except for the giant cluster in New York and New Jersey.
Florida's not that bad either.
No, Florida, there's a lot.
That makes sense. I mean, it's pretty hot down there. They need their ice cream.
Yes, I imagine
they'll melt
ice cream...
faster than the ice cream if they didn't.
Ice cream sales must be higher down there, I would think. But I don't. That's something to look into at another time.
Yes.
So, something interesting I learned in my research about Carvel, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Tom Carvel, which I can't believe that's literally his name.
I wonder if it was I wonder if it's like a pseudonym, like not really the name he was born with, but...
According to my research, and again, I could be wrong, I always feel free to fact check me, but apparently that was his birth name, and that they named the ice cream franchise after him. So...
I feel like that's going to be a pretty rare name, though. I've never heard anyone named Carvel.
Me either, but you know what? They probably don't have to work and enter mainstream society because they have ice cream money.
True.
Right? But apparently there was some interesting controversy behind his death. So it's like a very weird story, but long story short, his niece wanted his body exhumed after he was already buried because she suspected foul play from other members of the Carvel Corporation that believed that Mr. Carvel was embezzling money from his own incorporation.
But alright, did you hear about, like, how he died? Was it heart attack? Was it, like...
Hold, please.
Like, stabbed 36 times in the head or something?
No, it was a quiet death. It wasn't like...
Oh, he was old.
And he was old. He was 84.
Oh, okay.
You know, it wasn't like...
I mean, he lasted that long. She should just be happy he did. Stated she suspected he was drugged or suffocated. So maybe he passed away in his sleep or something like that.
Potentially. But her petition was actually denied. They never exhumed the body. No one ever investigated further because they kind of just were like the same thing we're saying right now. He was an old man.
Yeah, bro, just let him sleep.
Let him enjoy his ice cream in heaven. Like, leave him alone.
Yeah, he better get the VIP up there, passing out cones up there in his busted down his first truck. His first truck is probably up there with him at this point, unless they have it like at the corporation head or something like that in front of the building, like they have Godzilla statues in front of the Toho building.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. There is an ice cream museum, which, if at all possible, if this podcast takes off, we can maybe get some funding to go visit the ice cream museum.
Didn't Ben and Jerry's? We went to their headquarters. When was it? Last year?
Is that last year or 2 years ago?
I don't know. I think it's last year, and they had their first truck up there, didn't they? In front of the building.
Yes, they did. They had the Ben and Jerry's van, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, in front of one of their 3 physical locations in the world. Mm-hmm. They have 2. Well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
but
that's another
basically,
episode.
They have 3 factories. Yeah,
yes,
that's the word I'm looking for. They have 3 factories, but we can get to that later when we get to Ben and Jerry's.
Right. So the reason, and going a little bit off script here, the reason we picked Carvel to be our first episode, we mentioned earlier that it's near and dear to our hearts. Do you want to talk about why that is?
I mean, you're more the gushy person, but we did have our first date there.
Yes, our very first date, eight years ago, when dinosaurs walked the earth.
Yeah,
no, but we had our very first date at Carvel Ice Cream, the same location that we actually attended for this review.
Yeah, was a double date with my best friend's girlfriend at the time.
Right.
Yes. Let's just say, yeah. Let's
leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Yes,
we're gonna cut that actually. Anyway, so we had our first date there. We each got soft serve, actually, I believe at the time. But that's not our current go-to orders. They have evolved over time, but
not much.
Some things that are special also about Carvel are their signature dishes, which there's a lot of them.
Apparently, yes. I didn't know there were this many until you put the list in front of my face.
Really?
Yeah. I knew about Fudgy the Whale, but I didn't know about any of this other stuff.
You've never heard of Cookie Puss?
No, but I have heard of flying saucers. I feel like everyone's heard of flying saucers.
Yeah, that's there. So we've got, of course, their traditional ice cream cakes. We talked about them earlier. They are a staple at birthdays in the Percivali household, and they have been for a very long time. We have, of course, Fudgy the Whale, which is an ice cream cake in the shape of a whale. That was not easy for me to say.
Yeah, the weirdest things sometimes just get you tongue twisted.
Yeah, apparently. There's also Cookie Puss, which I don't actually know what Cookie Puss is supposed to be.
I'm assuming it's a cat.
He is a little scary. Like, I'm pulling up an image, and if we put this on YouTube,
what the hell is that?
We'll include an image of Cookie Puss. It's not a cat. I don't know, man.
I think it's French. Look at that! Look at that hat.
He's something.
What do you call those type of hats?
That's a beret. He's wearing a beret in that particular image, but I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't like it.
He's like a little clown
it's freaking me
with
out.
an ice cream cone nose and cookie eyes. Anyway,
very strange.
He looks delicious, but a little disturbing.
Looks like someone's attempt at incorporating every type of general ice cream, like in existence, all into one form. That's a cake, right?
Yeah, it's an ice cream cake.
Okay. It looked like it could have been, like, if they made it smaller, especially... It looked like it could have been like an ice pop or something. If they just shoved
put a stick up it.
Yeah, made it smaller and shoved the stick up it. It could have been an ice pop.
I see that. That's interesting. So, of course, we've got those staples where we've got Fudgy, we've got Cookie Puss. The ice cream cakes always usually come with crunchies, which are the little chocolate crunchy bits that come in ice cream cake. That's like a big staple of Carvel.
They're in the middle of the ice cream cakes.
Right. And then we've got their flying saucers, which is their version of an ice cream sandwich. And, of course, we also have the classic soft serve.
So were they the first ones to make the flying saucer? Quotation marks.
That I don't know. I only know about the soft serve. It didn't mention anything about the ice cream sandwich.
I feel like flying saucers are so high in quality above just ice cream sandwiches. I don't like ice cream sandwiches, but I love flying saucers.
It's because of the soft serve.
That makes sense.
At least that's my theory. Mm-hmm. A game theory. No, that's a different channel. Anyway.
And it's dead now. Just let it
go. So, in addition to the staples, they also allow for a variety of different soft serves. They have, of course, your classic chocolate and vanilla. They've got your twist. Once in a while, they'll include a, seasonal flavor. There was a pumpkin spice one in the fall. I did not care for it, but that's another story.
Generally speaking, there's just the two soft serves, and it kind of gets crazy past that. The only other soft serve I've ever had that I enjoyed was that pineapple one we had the other day.
Right, and that is a teaser for a future episode. Pineapple soft serve. Ooh, fancy. But Carvel will sometimes serve seasonal flavors. I'm really struggling to speak today. So, in addition to that, we've got your classic scooped ice cream, and then they've also expanded their non-dairy options, serving, I think the brand is called Oatly. It's non-dairy ice cream made with oat milk.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but okay.
I mean, I haven't had it. My father has.
I know.
He said he enjoyed it, so.
My sister likes oat milk. Maybe she should try that.
Maybe. They also have some fruit sorbets. So, like, their raspberry sorbet is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I've had that. I had it, like, decades ago, but I remember it. It was pretty good.
But it made an impression. Okay. But our go-to orders are a little different. So Carvel also, in addition to all of this stuff, has this thing called a dasher, which, for lack of a better explanation, is basically a soft serve sundae. So mine that I like to get is the Reese's Peanut Butter Dasher, but I sub out the vanilla soft serve for chocolate because chocolate is better. Sorry, that's going to be my hot take for the entire podcast. So I get chocolate soft serve. It comes with Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, peanut butter sauce, and hot fudge. And I eliminate the whipped cream because another big ice cream hot take I have is that whipped cream is unnecessary, and I know I'm going to get crucified for it.
Getting the steaks.
You know, that's my opinion. So my order's a little complicated because I like to, put special instructions. But that's my go-to from Carvel.
I have a question about this dasher.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do they offer it in, like, only cup or only cone, or do they offer both?
It is only a cup. It's a different size cup. It looks like a shake cup, but it's not a shake. It's a dasher.
Got it. Okay.
And it's just like a sundae with soft serve ice cream in a shake cup.
You'll have to point it out next. Oh, wait. I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I've seen it before.
And like, additionally, Carvel, it's the same cups they use for their Carvelanche, which I think is the funniest name for a product. That's their version of a Blizzard. Like, Dairy Queen invented the Blizzard. They made a Carvelanche.
They didn't try really hard to, like, differentiate the names. I feel like they were really, like, trying to create that association.
Yeah, I think it was done intentionally with the winter theme. But anyway, we'll talk about my feelings on Dairy Queen in a future episode as well.
Yeah, that'll be a roast take.
Hey, don't give away anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
But your go-to is a little more simple.
I mean, it's basically, I'm a very vanilla guy. I like vanilla. I prefer definitely all different types of vanilla, but mostly cherry vanilla when we go to Carvel. Just general cherry vanilla ice cream in a large cup. Not too crazy. But I will occasionally add, like, gummy bears if my sweet tooth is going out of control.
You are definitely the easiest person to order for
in the house.
When I go to Carvel for things.
I'll also take, like, black raspberry if for some crazy reason they didn't have cherry vanilla.
Right. So once in a while they're out, which is rare, but it has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I'm just a big fan, and you'll figure this. Well, you don't have to really figure it out. I'll tell you straight up. I like sugar. I like sweet.
What?
I'm very, very sweet focused when it comes to my ice creams and my food. When it comes to my foods in general, I like salty and I like sweet. But there usually is no such thing as salty ice cream. Not at least any that I've seen.
Well, they have, like, salted caramel flavor sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't like caramel in ice cream.
And you laughed at me for the whipped cream thing.
I will, and I'll continue to do that. It's a staple. It is a part of our ice cream. What's that word that I'm always forgetting?
You say zeitgeist.
Yes, that's it.
Throw the microphone out the window.
No, that's exactly the word I was looking for.
The
ice cream zeitgeist. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Your sinning is over here is what I'm saying.
So we're just gonna move right past the ice cream zeitgeist and right into our review of our ice cream. So kind of how we're doing this. We have a couple different categories we like to talk about with the ice cream, including the creaminess and consistency of the product. Of course, the flavor, how well is the flavor captured by the flavor you ordered. An experience / atmosphere or location, right? Because sometimes the place is important or sentimental. Like for us in this case, the Carvel is sentimental.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's just like in an interesting place, or it's by the water, or it's outside, either way, whatever it is.
It also has to do with availability. I mean, Carvel is the one that has like what was it?
341?
341 locations. And if we're talking about Carvel in terms of availability, they're all over the place. But if we're talking about like frozen flavors, which we'll talk about at a different time, there's only 2 of those.
True. We're giving away a lot of future information in the first episode.
Well, that's something for them to latch onto.
Lots of Easter eggs happening right here.
Yes.
So, creaminess and consistent. Oh, and also one of the other things we're going to talk about is the quality to cost ratio. Because we love ice cream, but it can get expensive out there in the world when you're buying ice cream once a week. So, we have to make sure the value is there as well. Because if nothing else, we are
snobs.
I was going to say budget conscious, but okay.
I mean, we've turned into ice cream snobs.
We have turned into ice cream snobs, and we will talk about that as we continue. But Carvel is still a staple, and I think there's a good reason for it. So you want to talk about your general review of Carvel?
I feel like you're going to be able to do a better job of like distinguishing different aspects of it, but I'll give it a shot. Let's see. Creaminess and consistency. I mean, it's got cream. It doesn't have enough cream. I'm lactose intolerant. I think we mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, that came up.
Yes. Even without taking lactates, I do not usually have stomach problems. So I know that with ice cream, that it depends on like where you get the ice cream. Like there's a place out in Connecticut that has 70%, 70% cream in their ice cream, as opposed to 40%, which is like the amount that is in like your general ice cream.
I don't recall the percentages, but that sounds right.
Yeah, it was on their poster. I remember that place's name, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
That place messed me up. But I never have an issue with Carvel. So if you have lactose intolerance, I don't have the worst lactose intolerance in the world, but I do. It doesn't usually mess up my stomach. So I'm going to use that as a basis to like judge its creaminess. It has the right amount of cream for the least amount of pain.
I mean, that's a solid review. Typically, since I go with the soft serve, mine I think is a little more creamy. Because it's the soft serve.
Yes.
So that makes sense. But I am lucky I do not have lactose intolerance, so it's not really a huge concern for me. But I do still think like the consistency of the soft serve is really good. It's very soft, it's creamy. You can mix in the toppings really easily, which is nice for me. So if you're going with the soft serve, that's solid as well. And of course, the flavor is great. It's very chocolatey. It's not like,
overly chocolatey, artificially chalky.
It's not artificial tasting, and it's not like empty chocolate. That's the word
I get what you're saying.
So it's like sometimes
that it's chocolate powder, and then sometimes you can tell that it's like a chocolate, real chocolate.
You know how if you're at a restaurant as a child,
mm-hmm.
and you're at breakfast, and you order chocolate milk, and
yes.
it's like they waved the chocolate syrup over the milk.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, sometimes there's soft serve ice cream that exists in the world where it's like they barely put any chocolate in it. And if you'll learn one thing about me, it's that I like chocolate.
Yeah, I don't.
I am a real chocolate fiend. And so, the fact that Carvel's ice cream has that chocolate flavor, it's not overly intense where it's too rich and it's like not missing. It's just the nice balance.
Interesting that I like chocolate bars, but I hate chocolate ice cream.
You are an enigma.
Yes.
That is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
in terms of flavor for mine, again, I usually stick with the vanillas. Regular vanilla or cherry vanilla. And then I don't have the black raspberry enough to like really make a judgment on it, but I remember enjoying it during a couple of times I did have to get it. But the cherry vanilla is great. And if there's one thing I love about an ice cream and gives it like extra points in my book, is when it actually has the fruit in it that it's supposed to. Like if it's a cherry vanilla and there are cherries in it, that it definitely got thumbs up right there. Or if it's like blueberry Italian ice and they throw real blueberries in there, great. That's like extra points in my book.
Got it.
Yes. It tastes and has great like texture. The cherry vanilla ice cream in particular. Love it.
Texture is important too. I think that it's really useful to mention the texture, especially if you get mix-ins or toppings or if there's something in your ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and as I said, I'll have gummy bears, but if I was going to get anything, but I'm cheap these days, and the cherry vanilla by itself is good enough that I don't feel like it really needs it.
No, it probably doesn't with the cherries.
So I don't get any, usually. I'll only get them if it's like just pure vanilla or something like that, and I feel like I want to add something to it.
Oh, you're grounded.
Hey.
Somebody's phone went off while we're recording a podcast.
I had it muted, too.
Was it an alarm?
It was an alarm.
Alarms don't care.
It's messed up.
It's true. It's so funny because something else we didn't mention at the beginning of this is that we are both in the education system for our primary careers. I'm a teacher. He's a teacher's aide. We're at different schools. But anyway, the point of me explaining this is that I was gonna say my students are always doing that. They don't remember to turn off their alarms.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes off in school, and they're like, I don't have a phone. Alarm goes off. Really? You don't? Huh. Looks like it's time to... I don't know why your alarm is ringing at 10 a.m., but whatever.
Yeah, it sounds like it's time to call you on your bullshit. But go ahead.
Oh, boy. So, experience / atmosphere / location. As we mentioned, this particular location is important to us because it is the place of our first date. But as a rule, it's nothing special. It's just like in a strip mall next to a Rite Aid and some other a nail salon. And there's a KFC over there, and there's a dry cleaners and
motor vehicle.
Like, it's nothing fancy.
They don't have their own like store, like, you know what I mean, like they
don't
not
have their
standalone.
They're in a bigger building,
right? The KFC has its own store, but not the Carvel,
right?
And the thing that I also just like about Carvel in general is you can go to any Carvel and pretty much their quality is always going to be about the same no matter where you go.
It's true.
They got it down. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they have it like pre-done and then they send it over, or if they do the mixing in the stores themselves, but they got it down to a science. No matter what Carvel you go to, if someone put Carvel in front of me with my eyes closed, I could, and a couple of other things next to it, I could probably tell it's Carvel ice cream.
You know what I just remembered while we were talking about this?
What?
That we went to that Carvel on the way home from our wedding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. It was my idea. I thought that if we go there in our wedding attire, that they'd give us a discount.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. You don't remember that?
I couldn't remember if they did or not.
They gave us a big discount because we came in. You were in your wedding dress. I was in my tuxedo, and they gave us a discount.
All I remember is that your best man, who is the same guy we went on the original double date with, by the way, he spilled his maraschino cherries on the back of my wedding dress.
He did?
He did. There was a stain I had to get when I went and got it done at the dry cleaners. Not in the same plaza, by the way. Different dry cleaners. I had to tell them about the maraschino cherry stain on the corset of my wedding dress before they cleaned it and preserved it and boxed it up for me.
Still worth it.
Definitely worth it. Oh, the ice cream is fantastic.
I mean, that made a great story, and we just got something out of it. So yeah,
it's true. Who knew that almost 2 years ago, we would be collecting a story for a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Never could have seen that coming.
Definitely not me.
But anyway, other than the previously mentioned things, the last thing on our review board is the quality to cost ratio. So just for context, the pricing is for everything is available on the Carvel website. If you enter your location, you can make an order and it'll show you kind of the general pricing of what you're gonna get. So the large cup,
which I get,
that you usually get, yeah, is approximately $6.39. And the dasher that I usually get, it's a little fancier, is $7.79. And then, of course, both of these are subject to tax. So it's going to run you around $15 to $17, depending on if you add anything additional to it or if you have any special instructions or anything of that nature.
It kind of seems kind of weird that they charge tax on ice cream. It is a food. It's not a necessary food. Maybe that's their logic behind it.
Is it? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I'll check that out for
We'll
the
have
next
to look
podcast.
into it. So it might be, it's going to be around $15 either way.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is, I think that's a reasonable cost. What about you?
Anything over $1 is like too much for me. But if I have to forgot what?
No, we forgot to mention that you are essentially Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yes, I am. What's that word?
Miserly.
I was going to say miserly, but
Frugal.
That's it.
There you go.
Yeah. There was another word, and I was trying to figure out what it was. Frugality is my thing.
My brain literally just went to SpongeBob for this. When
What?
they're talking about Mr. Krabs, and he's like, you may think he's cheap, miserly, or chronically tight-fisted. And I'm just like, yep, that's my husband.
Yeah. He's all those things, and so am I.
But the good news is, you don't mind splurging a little bit for ice cream.
That makes me feel a little bit better, because I don't usually look at the price tags on
ice cream.
On our ice cream. But it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm less expensive, at least in this particular store, than you are.
Yeah, I have expensive taste.
Mm.
That's not news.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, overall, now that we are done talking about the actual ice cream review, our goal is to kind of create an interactive tier list as we go. So how a tier list works, for those of you who aren't familiar, is the rating is aligned with a letter. S is the absolute top of a tier list, following in descending order by A, B, C, and D levels.
We're only going down to D.
We're only going down to D, because even, like we were talking about it before, even, like, terrible ice cream is still ice cream.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting that you're still getting ice cream.
Yeah, it's not like, let's say that if you're going to a grocery store and you're, I don't know, comparing tomatoes or something like that. Tomatoes are pretty, there's a small amount of tomatoes compared to ice cream. There's a whole lot of ice cream. If you look through the menu, chances are you're going to at least find one ice cream that you like.
It's true. It's true. So, based on that, where would you place Carvel on our tier list?
Because I wouldn't say Carvel does anything particularly amazing. There's nothing there that makes me salivate just thinking about it. But the stuff that I have is all still really good. So I would probably be inclined to put it on the A, in the A bracket, on the A level. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. On the A level. I already have in mind what I would consider to be an S. Carvel's not there, but it's as close as it can be without it.
I think I know the place you're talking about, but we'll do that in a future episode. So, I actually completely agree. Sometimes we probably won't think that things are on the same level, but in this case, I say Carvel is definitely an A. It's a solid ice cream. You always know what you're getting. You always know you're getting good ice cream no matter what you order.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said,
And-
you can go to any Carvel anywhere in the United States, and chances are the quality is going to be about the same.
It's the consistency. The consistency, not of the ice cream, of the...
Quality.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
That is what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
So, the official rating for us on Scooped Podcast here for Carvel ice cream is level A.
Yes.
Go Carvel.
I mean, yeah, they do no wrong. They don't do anything amazing, but they got you covered in any type of ice cream that you could possibly think of. Do they have the red dip? They do.
You've eaten it there.
Yeah, they do have the red dip. So yeah, they definitely got everything. I love the red dipped ice cream. I'm soft serve.
Yes. My mortal enemy serves that ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that in a future episode as well.
Probably that's probably going to be half of what we have to say about.
Hey, don't reveal. You're going to beep that. You're going to beep that in the actual recording.
No.
Oh, boy. All right, so wrapping up our first episode, thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube using the handle @ScookedPodcast. Once again, that's @ScookedPodcast on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Tune in next week for another episode in which we review a local chain with 2 locations in central southern New Jersey. Not as large, but perhaps more interesting.
They definitely got some interesting ice cream. I enjoyed it. Nice after the beach.
Yes, we will have a story to tell again next week. So tune in next week for another fun-filled review. Please be sure to tell your friends about Scooped Podcast. If you scream for ice cream, this is the place to be.
Yes, we will scream of all the ice cream. Of all the ice cream there is to scream.
Yup. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks for listening.